Well, a very good afternoon, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, Patricia and David, scrambling to get here right on 5:15. A few seconds late, but not to worry. ZMH 286 to cover all of the details, and it's been a beautiful day. We had a forecast of Sunday and Monday being absolutely putrid, and it was absolutely delightful. So we're all quite happy back here. Today is the shortest day, and it was a very, very pleasant one, but it's 16 degrees now because the wind has gone to the southwest, west-southwest. It is very light, 8 degrees, 8 knots from the west to southwest, a lot less than what the couple of boats who are on their way are experiencing, but we'll talk about that shortly. The barometer here is 1000.5, and we've got about 95% cloud cover, but it was delightfully sunny today, so a very enjoyable trip we had back from Tauranga. So, what shall we start with first? We've got quite a bit because we haven't been on for a couple of days, but I do need to start with something quite serious. So I hope you're listening, you folk up in Fiji. It was very disappointing to see that the Muscat Cove management had to put out a very stern reminder of the behaviour expected from boats. And this follows a large gathering that you had on Friday night, which showed total disregard for the COVID blue lane protocols. Boy, guys, you're running the risk of forcing authorities to take a very much more stringent rule for cruises, and this could well spoil what is in fact a very favoured situation that you've got up there at the moment. If you recall, in the lockdown in New Zealand, yacht crews were not even allowed to go on board other yachts. They couldn't move around. If they wanted to talk to someone, they had to be in the dinghy and yell up to them. You are in a very favoured position, but you have rules to follow. In Fiji, you can gather up to and only up to 10 people. Any more than this puts the marina folk at Muscat or Vunda or Savu, wherever, in a really difficult position. They're trying to tread a very fine line between helping make your visit enjoyable and meeting the COVID requirements needed for the greater Fiji population. Boy, oh boy, there were 160 positives again over the last 24 hours. It is a very serious situation that Fiji government are trying to deal with. So please play your part. Do not gather more than 10 people. Do not join other people's bubbles that are not your own, because if you break these rules in restaurants or bars, then you can affect the viability of that organisation. They won't be able to continue trading. They could get fined, and you could get fined and possibly worse. You need to wear your mask in public and have your AIS on at all times. So please, folks, let's have any more of those sorts of, or needing to see those sorts of messages come out. You really, really are in a very favoured situation, and you don't want to spoil it. Okay, talking about AIS, I got a great update email from Beth and Ken on Eagle's Wings. Many of you will know Beth and Ken. They have COVIDed, that's a new word I forgot to use, in the Marshall Islands. We did that one summer or winter, whatever you want to call it. It was great up there, beautiful water. But anyway, the Marshalls, like Fiji, have enabled boats to sail. They have got no problems, of course, because they're a US boat. But they have asked a question concerning AIS. Theirs is a very power-hungry Class A version, just like ours, and they cannot keep it running 24/7 if they came to Fiji. So that sort of puts a bit of a fly in the ointment. They have a satellite tracker, it's called a YB3I, from Predict Wind, and this transmits every 2 minutes and draws only 350 milliamps. So it's a really, really good system, and you can track it on the Predict Wind website. But the question that I'm throwing out to you, does anybody know who in the Fiji authorities would be the right person to contact to follow up on this tracking option suitability? Because for those that have got it, it's certainly something that would be more desirable than using something that's a lot more power hungry. So if you do know who that person is, let me know, or if you can find out more about whether they accept things other than a traditional AIS, then please let me know. You know our email by now. It's ghradio@extra.co.nz. XTRA it is, .co.nz. And the reason I was rushing to get here by 5:15 is that on the email from Beth and Ken, they put on a whole pile of pictures or reference to their site with amazing pictures of very tiny things that live in the ocean. Absolutely gorgeous little nudibranchs and various other things. And Beth and Ken, if you're listening, my favourite is the poached egg one. It looks like it's covered in poached eggs, but very, very tiny. All right, let's move on to boats, because there has been a bit of movement. Just going to the marine traffic website. We've had a couple arrive in Fiji. Jubilate is almost to Savu Savu, coming from French Polynesia. They'll be really, really pleased to settle down and have some calm water. Making Memories, I'm not sure where they're going to, whether it's Savu Savu or Dinnerau. They're coming from Tonga. They've got East 6, and they are doing about 4.9 on a course of 270. So they're in good position. The wind has now eased for Destiny. I'm not sure that they'll even have to go into quarantine by the time they get there. They've got, where are they? They're at 2-1 south, 46 minutes and 178, and they've got a northwest of about 11. So doing rather well on a course of 029, 7.4 knots. They're a catamaran. There's a bit more wind further south, though. We've got Inverell still battling with their 25 knots of southwest wind, but at least it's in a better direction now. They're up at 30 and 178. And a couple of recent departures, a little bit probably ahead of when it would be comfortable, but Bellina catamaran, home-built catamaran, with Benno and Marlene on board, they are at 31 and, they've got 31 knots from the west. And Moondust, I think he's single-handing, is at 27 south. But boy, they've got some wind, 33 from the south and 29 for Moondust, not all that much different. So he's at 29. But, it's windy, very, very strong wind. So probably a start tomorrow might be a little bit better. Yes, where am I looking at? Moondust here, he's at 33 and 176 and doing 4.2 on a course of 047. So doing rather well. And Bellino has got stronger wind a bit because they're a bit further north. Anyway, they're on their way. Be interesting to follow those two boats, and they will have it as they go north somewhat better. All right, that's about it from me. Oh my God, I've just looked across at what David's got on his screen over there. It does look rather grim. I shall pass the microphone to see where the grimness is.
Oh, it's grim. Yeah, just north of New Zealand and up to maybe 25 south. Looks pretty grim wind-wise anyhow. So good evening from the Gulf Harbour Radio Weather Desk. A quick review of the synoptic weather picture. I say quick review. We really hadn't moved here. We just pulled in the driveway about an hour ago, and I scrambled to pull down all my little favorite sites and whatnot. But we show two main features for the Southwest Pacific. The first is a very large in area depression whose center is more or less over East Cape in New Zealand, in the North Island of New Zealand. We have cyclonic winds from this system all the way up to 20 south and westward across the Tasman to about 165 east. So you can see how broad and large the system is. Within this depression is, of course, a series of fronts and troughs. You're familiar with me saying this by now. It's almost automatic to say those things. We are in a part of the world where we don't just have a depression. We have all kinds of things within it. Anyhow, that's bringing strong winds and rain over New Zealand. Our sideline, our road trip to Tauranga to the south, a lot of boats have summered there. Anyway, it took us right alongside of the Karenga Happy Gorge, which is quite a famous place and quite spectacular. You can park your car and do some hikes around there. Anyhow, there were at least 5 foot standing waves in the rapids through that river, through that gorge. It was amazing to see. Quite unusual, but not unheard of. It's happened before. In fact, it's gone across the road on both sides and created much havoc, but not quite so bad this time. But what an amazing sight it was. Anyhow, I see a cold front that runs up all the way up to 20 south and 175 east. And apart from that, there's a trough a little bit further to the south. That runs up to 25 south and 167 east. Now, the few yachts that are on passage are going to encounter or have encountered very strong winds, as Patricia has indicated, and, well, in generally dirty conditions on their voyage north. Now, the ASCOT wind satellite, that's the satellite that I take a look at, that gives the actual conditions on the surface of the sea, and they're picking up 30 to 35 knots, and that's about halfway to Fiji. It's a broad area. I won't try to cover the complete area that I'm talking about here, but rest assured, it's windy, and I would suspect stronger gusts than that. Now, for those in Fiji, the frontal band that I mentioned just a second ago or so is going to continue to move north and affect the group. And I would say that's going to be around Wednesday, and Fiji Met agrees with that as well. So for now, the weather is mostly fine. Looking at satellite imagery that I just pulled down, it shows scattered cloud, and with that would be afternoon showers in quite a few places throughout the group in Fiji. Now, winds tomorrow, mostly south-southeast. I would say around 15 knots, 1.15 knots, but less than that in the southern areas. But late Wednesday into Thursday brings wind of, I believe, south-southeast, 15 to 25 knots. That's 15 to 25 knots, with the Lao group experiencing, I would estimate, 30 knots or more. I don't think anybody has gotten that far yet, but that's what those folks are going to be experiencing, I believe. And those will be mostly southerlies. Looking a little bit further, I see fresh winds Friday, Saturday, time frame, Friday, Saturday, southeast to about 25 knots in most areas. So quite a bit of breeze that's out there, or will be out there. And, of course, those of you that are in sheltered areas, you know where they are. They're on the west side of some of the bigger islands, and certainly Viti Levu and Levu. There's plenty of areas of wind shadow where you've got plenty of protection. So that's it from me. That's the synopsis as I see it. And with that, I'll pass it back to Patricia.
I'm just starting a new log here because that's the third time this season that you have said that you agree with Fiji Met. This is becoming quite outstanding. Wow. Very different from previous years. All right, folks, that's David. Now, do we have anybody checking in to say hello or with any information to share? Please call now. Oh, how disappointing. It would be lovely to hear a voice respond to us. But never mind, we will be back again tomorrow. And by the way, if you do have some information on the options for AIS, oh, hang on a minute, there's somebody there. Who was that? There was a boat pulling in. Who was that?
Hello, Patricia.
This is the Sighting Petrol Vicky lot.
Oh, hello, Charles. Yes, I'm just increasing. Yep, got you, Charles. Yep, got you. Go ahead, Charles. Vingalot, Vingalot. This is Golf Harbour Radio. Go ahead. We have you.
Okay, conditions are so bad here that I'm listening to you on the streaming.
He's listening on the streaming.
Well, the streaming says it's going through well.
I'm listening on the streaming service, so on the radio. So
Okay.
Okay, Charles, we've got you. There is a delay, obviously, between the streaming and the radio, but do you have anything?
It's great for me to have a conversation with you to let you know that it was good to hear you.
Good to hear you.
All right, we have that, and you at least have it on streaming. And I will actually, I've got a question for you, but I will do it on the internet. Okay, we won't bother trying to do this because there's too much of a delay. I will email you, Charles, with a question. All right, is there anybody that wants to make contact directly on the radio? Please call. Okay. Okay, Barney, I have you, Ocean Fever. It's still very light, though. There should be some improvement to expect from your signal. So we'll have to get you working on that one, making sure your dynaplate or ground plane or whatever is connected well, or get the power up on the radio. I know you're there, but not too easy to make out what you are saying, Barney. Go ahead, Ocean Fever. Okay, Barney, and thanks for the information. I love the photo. I love the photo of your son holding up his boat. That was a real classic. Yep, got that one. Thank you. And also thanks for the information about the cheap AIS units. Barney sent me, and I'm just going to bring it up on the computer. He got one from China 3 years ago, and it seems to work very well. It's still working, so that's a good start. So about 3 years ago, they were about $230 US dollars each, and they have worked well. He sent pictures of the model HP 33A, but there is a newer model out, and he sent it an eBay address. It's actually on eBay Australia. If you want to have a look at the AIS Chinese model, it's called an HP 528. An HP 528. If you're looking at a Chinese AIS, his son has interfaced it to OpenCPN, whatever that means. Anyway. Thanks very much for that information, Barney, and if anybody else has any information to add to the AIS / predict wind tracking discussion, please be in touch, because it would be good for those boats who want to try and get into Fiji but haven't got things situated well at the moment. All right, folks, have a very good evening. It's pitch black here now, and we're going to go and relax too. Don't need to put the fire on tonight because it's been so sunny all day. The house is quite warm, so we're not complaining. Cheers, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow at 5:15. This is Golf Harbour Radio. Trisha and David Clear.
Well, that's good. Got 2 birds.
Hams, you know.
Um,